To Data Pe Charcha show with Sumit. I'm super excited today. Excited today to have all the conversation which we are going to have today with Mr. Shivam. Uh, so Shivam is a guy who is currently working as a business intelligence analyst in one of the private firm, and he is actively participating into Tableau community, Tableau world. I have requested him to come on this show, and he was quite open to share his story. And also, he will share his top tips with us in order to build what better we can do with our storytelling as well as with our dashboarding. So, without further ado, let's welcome Shivam Mittal. Welcome to the show, Shivam.
Hi, Sumit. How are you?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
Great too.
Yeah.
Okay,
So Shivam, tell us something about yourself, about your story, about your city, about how you got introduced to this community or like this tool.
Okay. So basically, Sumit, I live in Delhi, and like I'm born and raised in Delhi only,
Mm-hmm.
and basically I did my computer science engineering graduation, and then basically these all things like the college placements are there and these two things are there. So I landed with an internship in a company, and from there I was introduced to this data field, right? Basically I was placed in a batch where like the company was doing this data technology and these all stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was given a project. Basically, it was an ETL project, right? So from there, I think my journey started. I was keen on exploring this data technology and like how the data works, how the company is exploiting data, and how the company is benefiting from it. So yeah, so basically, from there I was introduced to this data technology, and then after my internship, I get back to home, and then basically I just started exploring the jobs that are there in market for freshers, right? And I must say that getting into this data field as a fresher is a very tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically I would say that I majorly focused on SQL, getting my SQL basics right, because as you know, uh, we can learn a tool in any tool in 15 to 20 days, right? There is no challenge in learning tool, but as long as our basics are clear, as long as our domain knowledge is there, so yeah. So I just focused on SQL, and then I landed a job in a startup company, and from there, like I just started to build my tab. I was introduced to Tableau in that startup company, and then basically I started exploring Tableau. I made my Tableau public profile after that, and like I was then introduced to this Tableau community, and yeah. So basically, that was my journey. I would say basically I started from SQL, and then I moved to Tableau, and then yeah. Okay. So basically, after Tableau, I just explored this Tableau community. How like there are many projects going on, like Makeover Mondays are there, Workout Wednesdays are there, and many projects that are there. So basically, I started participating in these weekly projects and so on.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So Shivam, was it from start, like when you were in your last year, or let's say in your third year, like you were very clear about like in which field you wanted to go? Because considering you as a computer science guy, so what was that planning in your mind when you were a student?
Okay. So basically, my planning was I was not aware of this data field, right? In many if we talk about this college environment, right? We don't have any specific courses in data field or in Tableau maybe, right? A college guy, maybe he is not aware what this Tableau is, right? So yeah, as you said, like I was not aware of this data field and these all things, but yeah, so I just landed a job in basically as a programmer analyst. So there I just was introduced to the data field, and like it was very random, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
not I want to get a job in data only. So it
Okay.
was very random thing that happened with me.
Acha. Okay.
So yeah,
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you, Shivam, for sharing that thing with us. Okay, so Shivam, I'll tell a bit about like how I came to know about
yeah.
you. So basically, I have access to LinkedIn and then Twitter, and I've seen couple of posts from your side, and it was completely awesome. um, it was awesome, and even I have heard very good things about you from our community leaders. So for example, I was having a similar kind of conversation with Swagat. He is a Tableau
Mm-hmm.
ambassador, and he mentioned your name. Okay, so like Shivam is pretty new in this field, but altogether if you see his work, he has done some marvelous kind of work in this ways. And then I was like, yeah, let me just explore and let me just connect with this guy. And that's how I shoot you an email saying that, hey, would you be interested to be a part of the show? But yes, looking at your work, it's really inspiring. Even I would love to hear some tips from for my work as well. Though I'm pretty like like somewhere around 5 to 6 years, but again, I would be happy to learn from you as well. So that is one thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah
cool.
we all
So
learn with from each other only, right?
yeah, true, very true. Okay, so Shivam, wouldn't you like share your screen, and maybe if you can just walk us few examples which you have created. Focus would be somewhere around on storytelling part, your thought process behind it, your business question which you are trying to achieve from your dashboard, from your visual. So please share something with us. Maybe it could be something related to Wish for Social Good. I know you are um, actively participant of Wish for Social Good, Makeover Monday. So it could be some examples from that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, just let me know when you are able to see my screen, right?
Sure, sure, sure. It's loading. Yep, I can see your screen.
Okay, so uh, I will just like walk you through my thought process in building this Makeover Monday dashboard, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let me just like walk you through the data set that we had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically this week's this dashboard sorry, this data set had data from across the world, and it just like had the data like about the women's share in parliament, right?
Okay.
Like how much seats are shared by women over the world in parliament.
Okay.
Okay, so basically the data set was from 1997 to 2019, right? For
Okay.
172 countries. Okay,
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
so so when I just like started exploring this data, so I just went on internet and I just like started exploring this how women are participating in different regions, different parts of world in this political environment, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
I found a very a very like outlier trend in Sri Lanka, right?
Okay.
So I decided to basically form my story in and around Sri Lanka only, right? I could have
Okay.
shown the dashboard for 172 countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would not give a user a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can
Okay.
just like see like basically if I would have not highlighted Sri Lanka, basically he would have seen like Cuba is this,
Mm-hmm.
Sweden is this, Finland is this.
Okay.
Okay, so like he is not able to build a story like okay, so this is the share. Okay, like he will not get why the share is less and like what is stopping from these countries to women. Why are women not entering in this environment, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, So basically, I just like try to build a story in and around Sri Lanka only, right?
Okay. Okay.
So basically, as I wrote that this visualization majorly focuses on Sri Lanka,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So basically, I just started with exploring different type of graphs, different type of trends that we can make.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with an approach of a trellis chart,
Okay.
and I just try to highlight Sri Lanka here, right? Like
Yep.
a person who will just like try to see the dashboard, he will just
Mm-hmm.
like see, okay, so Sri Lanka is here.
Okay.
So it is very much down the hierarchy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So so why? So the next question will be like why women are not participating in this, right?
Yep. 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 Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, I then just like went on internet and just had some information there. So basically, I found a law that government passed there that 25% of women should have the quota there, right? But
Okay.
despite of it, as we can see, like it never exceeded 6%, right? It has been
Okay.
around 4 to 6% only. So
Okay.
why we are not having women as
Mm-hmm.
having seats in the parliament, right? And then I just went to a global gender report, and there explored some like KPIs that the World Bank assigns to every country, right? Like the
Okay.
education attainment is there, health and
Mm-hmm.
survival is there. Like basically that is a gender gap between the men and women, right? So
Okay. Okay.
basically, I found that in political environment, the women are very much lagging here, right?
Wow.
It's
Okay.
0.19.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They are doing very much in education. They are doing very much in economic participation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
this political environment is very less.
Okay.
So I try to give a visual that it requires some attention, right?
Correct.
So basically, then I just like wrote some for these lines that basically Sri Lankan women has progressed in many fields. Like as you can see, they have in education, they have in health and survival, but their politics uh, share is very less.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, to achieve gender equality, we should be equal in every domain, right? In political environment, in health and survival. So I just like try to give user a story so
Mm-hmm.
that why Sri Lanka is lacking. Maybe these countries if we go down, like each country has a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each country will have a story like Sri Lanka only. But in this visualization, I just like focused on Sri
On
Lanka,
the Sri
like
Lanka.
why Sri Lanka is having.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we can also analyze the story in Cuba, like why Cuba is having so much share, like what is their uh, what are they doing differently than Sri Lanka that they are having so much share in this seats
Okay.
and
Okay.
women. Like you can see that there are 53% of share in women party this politics.
Yep.
So what Cuba is doing differently. So yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
basically I tried to visualize this gender equality in it, that why the women are not having this share, and like what is stopping from them, what is stopping them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so basically I could have like just analyzed those 172 countries data and just showed you like this, like in this country is this and this country is in, and that will be all. But that will not make any story, right?
And
If
yep.
you
It. Yep.
tend to open my viz and just see, okay, so that Kenya is having this, Tanzania is having this, okay, that's fine. Now what should I do with this? Okay, so I got that information that
Drivers.
we have
Okay.
23%, yeah, but that will not drive us to any story, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So basically, that was my agenda doing
This
this
is awesome.
visualization.
Yep.
That
Yep. Yep. So I really like the way basically you have focused on Sri Lanka. So like it is something like top to down, bottom kind of approach, like drill down kind of approach. You have showed all countries in your trellis chart, and then
yeah,
you have just highlighted Sri Lanka.
yeah,
And again, as you go down, as you scroll down, you will see drivers. What are the drivers behind
right,
what is really happening there, right? And
right,
again, in terms of this annotations and heading, like in 2018, like government passed 20% women quota. So again, this kind of things are really where we can see, like there is something benchmark. So like even government has passed some quota,
right,
but still like it never exceeded by 6% in Sri
right,
Lanka. So this is kind of an alarm which you're directly throwing in front of the audience.
right,
This is what the real question mark is. And then moving down again, you have so you have clubbed another data set like global gender gap report,
Yeah.
and again you have tried to analyze that. So again, that is really, I would say that is again very good part of this dashboard. Political empowerment is really low compared to all other factors.
Right.
And again, in on left hand side, top 10 countries based on number of seats. Cool.
Yeah, like you
Overall,
can
it is
see.
perfectly fine, you know. And the best thing which I liked about this is very less colors. Only two colors are there in your dashboard. So
Yeah.
so again, that is like minimal color, but at the same time, you are basically justifying color, using it properly for highlighting purpose and focusing on Sri Lanka. So perfectly, a thumbs up for this dashboard. I loved it. Loved it.
Okay.
Completely loved it, because I can clearly see story, and
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Okay.
It makes
So
sense. Like rather than focusing on everything,
yeah.
focus on few parts of that dashboard. So it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yep.
Because in a dashboard we can't just show everything, right?
Yes.
We if we try to show everything, that becomes nothing in the end.
Okay. Yeah.
That is my okay. So that is my Miko Monday submission that I like. I am very much inclined to this Miko Monday submissions. Like I'm an active participant in this Miko Monday quiz. And then another quiz that I would like to like share with you is basically this is a health project quiz. And basically this is a social project that is run by I think Lindsay Tableau. Then I think she is a Tableau Zen master as well. So
Yep.
basically she runs this monthly project health with dashboard. Basically this project has healthcare data sets only, like how we can analyze healthcare data sets and like what we can do better, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I think this data set was of I think this data set was of July only. So basically in July we got a data set. Okay, so this let me just walk you through the data set. This data set only had 2 dimensions and 2 measures.
Okay.
And like it was not of very much like we don't have very much columns or rows. We just had 2 dimensions and 2 measures. Like these are the poison control centers in US, and these are the calls that they are receiving, and what is the reason of exposure, right? Poison exposure.
Okay.
So we just had this data. So I just tried out my hand, like what I can do with this data set, so that I can visualize it on a much better. Like I can give a person a story, like what is happening in US, right? So okay. So basically, as you can see, this is the 2018 annual report of American Association of Poison Control Centers.
Yep.
So this KPI, every 15 seconds someone calls the poison control center in US. Okay, so this means I just calculated it, like we are having 2.10 million cases in 2018, right, of human exposure to poison.
Okay.
So I just like divided it by the number of seconds that we have in a year, and I just got an interesting KPI that every 15 seconds, like on an average, every 15 seconds, this center is having a call from someone that is saying that they are exposed to poison, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I just like try to visualize this KPI here. Like okay, so these are the total poison control centers that are available in US in 2018. There are 15 poison control centers, and these are the total number of cases, and these are the states in which, like the total number of states and territories in US in which they are available, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So okay, so basically then another dimension was like how the exposure these exposures occur, right? Your next question will be that okay, so these centers are receiving calls like we are exposed to this poison. So like what is the then the call center will ask them like what was your reason of exposure, right?
Yep.
So basically I just like found out that 77% of cases were unintentional. Like basically unintentional would be that maybe they just use their drug or they overuse their drug. Maybe they were not aware that this was for the poison control, right? So basically 77, like majorly the cases were of unintentional cases and 19% were intentional. and basically 3% were adverse reaction, and basically the rest we were I just clubbed it into the others, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So okay, so now the next thing would be like okay, so we got a KPI from here that 77% of cases were unintentional. That is the majority of the cases.
Sorry. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then the next question would be that what is the age group? Like, what is the average age group of the person that they are calling from the center, and what are the cases? So basically, in this, I just used
Sankey chart.
this Sankey chart, and basically I just try to visualize that what is the major cause.
Okay.
So I just found out that the age group is less than 5 years, less than or equal to 5 years. The major percentage, that major percentage of age group was less than 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we can infer that I think there was some medicine adverse reaction, medicine unintentional use. Basically, less than 5 years. Basically, he may have just like eaten some medicine, like if the parents were not around. So these kind of things I just tried to visualize it with the Sankey graph, and I think yeah. So basically, in my view, like this Sankey chart gave us the this information very clearly, right?
Yes. Yes.
Like, so these approximately 44% of cases were children of less than equal to 5 years age group. So yeah, so we had two dimensions of age group and how the exposure occurs. So I just try to visualize these two dimensions, and then basically I just gave this helpline number and these about the poison control center, like what happens when a person gets contact to a poison control. Yeah. Okay. So basically how the call center is reacting to it, and like how they are managing it, and these all, right?
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so this was my submission to this project Health Quiz.
This is again a great example, like where you can see a story from the dashboard. So the way you have walked us through was completely amazing, like starting from those big angry numbers, again starting from the heading, like 2000 annual report, right. And then 15-second someone calls a poison center, so again that one, and then big numbers, and again why did it exposure occur basically, right. So that again like 4 bars, and again like you can clearly see like unintentional was 77% out of it. And Sankey was really awesome, because most of the time, frankly speaking, I don't understand Sankey chart, but in case it was completely justified.
Me too. I never use Sankey charts. Like I think I just like tried it for the first time, and I think it fit perfectly.
This is perfect use case to use Sankey chart, and I think it completely worked. I can clearly see. Okay, so like 44% cases were from children whose age are like less than 5 years. Yeah. So, and again falling onto the unintentional, again that one is also clearly we can see what is happening, what are the reasons with respect to the age groups. So again that is well done over there. Overall it was really nice, and again in terms of I can also see white space as a margin of your dashboard. So again I have so this is kind of a design principles which I have seen like folks have started using. So rather than like filling everything, I can clearly see like that there is a margin on left hand side as well as right hand side, and again on top and then bottom. And so like having that kind of white space really helps us to read more clearly what is happening with this dashboard.
Yeah, I think now the users are like very much giving I think this is called the breathing space.
Breathing space, exactly.
We should give the graph some breathing space, right? We should not just like try to place everything in the white space and not give white space, not give padding. Like most of the business dashboards are just like on the edge. Like they are just on the edge only. Like yeah. So basically
this is print friendly. So like even if tomorrow someone decides to print it and like use it as a some kind of a like wallpaper or like some kind of banner. So it is for them. It will be very easy game, right? Because it is already in that format. So it is print friendly as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
I'm very much glad that you are liking these visualizations.
Yeah, man. I'm learning basically, not even liking, but more than that. Like I will definitely try to implement few of these things in my upcoming work as well. That is for sure, because even your work is inspiring. Who Shivam, again, as you mentioned, like you have started this career. It is somewhere around like 1.5 to 2 years of experience in the same field.
Right.
Pretty much new, but at the same time I can see your work. So you have devoted more time in like analyzing data slash building visuals, and again fine tuning it, so you can clearly visualize those things in my mind, like the amount of effort you have taken. Along with this, when it comes to the work, when it comes to the business world, what is the typical project life cycle you follow? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let me know when you are able to see my screen, right?
I can. Yes. I can see your screen.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So basically, I just built this a couple of months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and okay. So let me just have my comment for we are making this makeover Mondays, we are making this workout Wednesdays, we are participating actively in communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think those design principles and like building a business dashboard, they are very much different.
Yep.
Like you would also see we cannot make these type of visualizations in business dashboard, right?
Yeah.
Giving some padding and filling these empty space. Like I think the business is not used to Sankey charts. Maybe they are not used to seeing and understanding how the graph works. I think basically they are just interested show me my data. Just show me my data. I am not they're interested in seeing this Sankey graph and understanding how this graph works and these all things, right?
Yep.
So yeah. So basically, I follow this 5 points dashboard implementation. Like when I'm basically starting a new project in my company, and there is some new requirement from a client that basically we need a dashboard on this, right? So basically, I just follow these 5 points so that we are smooth in working, and we are sure that all the requirements are met of client, right?
Okay.
So basically, my first step will be to identify. So identify would mean that identifying the business problem and the requirement. Yeah, so client is asking for a dashboard because he is having some business problem, right, to solve.
Yes. Okay.
And the client is leveraging data to solve that problem, right?
Okay.
So basically, I would set up a meeting with the client, and I will just brainstorm the ideas. I will gather my requirements here, and I will just chalk out what exactly they are looking for.
Okay.
And I will just identify the flow of data and these all kind of things, like what they are, what will be the data source, how the data is being captured, and how we can pull it in Tableau or any other tool like Tableau. In my company they are following Tableau, but yes, that will be true for any other tool, right?
Okay. Yep.
So basically my first step will be identifying, and then my next step will be requirement gathering. Right. Okay. So the requirement gathering will be I will just pen down some points and specifics about building the dashboard, and I think this point will also I can just design a wireframe, right? And a wireframe would be a rough design that I can maybe you can just draw it on a pen or paper, or you can just use or maybe you can just use any tool if you have an expertise on that as well. And yeah, you can just use any tool, or pen or paper is a much better approach. And I will just identify the scope of the dashboard, and client is asking for this, and after I analyze the data, I am able to design a wireframe, and I'm just we can just show the client some alternates as well. like I can design this here and this here, right? Like this type of, we can just like tell him this type of data we are not able to capture, and so this kind of analysis we are not able to do, but we can do this kind of analysis, right?
Yes. Yep.
So chalking out this wireframing and then having another meeting with him, right? So that he can also understand like what will the dashboard look like.
Yep.
A wireframe can tell like this dashboard will look like this, right? So this step will be like identifying the KPIs and the flow of dashboard, right? And after I have this meeting with the client, and after I have analyzed the data, and then I will start building, right? I will just have an approval with the client that wireframe is this, and after he shares his approval, I will just like starting working within Tableau. Like I don't just start building in Tableau right away. Like clients that build me this report. So my approach is not that I will just like load the data in Tableau and start building the graph, right? The tracking and dropping. Yeah. So that is the approach. After I get an approval, I will just like start doing some exploratory analysis, right? Like having these graphs and building the data, building a table to see the granularity of the data, and these all things, right? And I will just like try to give him a draft, a UAT dashboard, you can say. I will just like try to give him a UAT dashboard, and I will just like tell him that you just interact with the dashboard, check the functionality, and see how it is working, right? So that step I called it the building phase of the dashboard, right? And after we are done building the dashboard, I just like I just like try to validate the data, the same data that I got in Tableau from the data source as well. Okay, so for example, if my data set is SQL Server, like majorly companies are having this SQL Server, basically on database, on SQL Server on database. So I just like try to write some queries there to validate the data that in the data source we are getting this value, and in Tableau we are getting this value. Like validating a dashboard is a very important step, right?
Exactly. Yep.
If the figures are not correct and you have made some awesome chart, so
it's of no use.
Right.
Valid point.
So basically, I try to validate the dashboard, and then I validate after all the validation, all the points, all the testing is done. So I just deploy it from UAT to production. So that is my final step, and like the final step will also include configuring the schedules, configuring the extract refreshes, and maybe configuring the security. Right? We don't want every user of the server to have access to those dashboards, right? So configuring the securities and maybe giving out subscriptions and alerts and monitoring it.
Deploying part.
So these all things will be my deploying part. So basically, I follow this chain of dashboard implementation. Like what will be the business requirement, like from business requirement to getting it to production level environment. So basically I follow this approach so that we are in sync with the client, right? As long as we are in sync with the client, so as long as we are like in sync with the client, I think the dashboard will be used.
Exactly.
If we are not in sync with the client, I think you will make a dashboard, but that dashboard will not be used.
Correct. So tell me one thing. This is life cycle is completely awesome, and I think some or other way even like other companies are also following similar kind of life cycle. Some here and there. So some of them believe in, let's say, agile methodology. Some of them believe in some other kind of methodology. So it could differ. But this is awesome. I think typically this is what it is intended. And what I liked really is when you say like you won't go and directly start pulling data and start building charts out of it. So before that, you understand understand it clearly, like what is my objective, what is my end goal, and building wireframe, and then having that sign up from the client, and then starting that visualization part. I think that's really awesome, because that's how even you can learn business, and then at the same time you
Right.
can like that is kind of a narrow down of
Right.
an approach. Loved it. Cool. Shivam, I must say this was really nice conversation. This was really nice, insightful conversation which we had today. I've learned a lot from your visuals, especially using minimum color, at the same time delivering more results. And again, that top to down, bottom approach, again, that was really awesome. And surely I'll try to implement few things from my side as well, like what we can do from by looking at your visuals. So definitely I'll try something on that. It was awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Same here, Sumit. It was awesome, and it was like a new experience for me as well. And I hope that everyone have fun watching it, and I think it adds some value to their work as well, right?
It will surely 100%. It will add value.
Yeah.
Cool, man. See ya. Thank you so much. And
okay. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Yeah. See ya. Thank you.